Hi you guys, welcome back. My name is Carrie Penny. I am the Happy Crafty Homemaker and welcome to Show and Tell number 197. Banner just came walking around the corner going, I don't know what his deal is with not wanting to be present when I film recently, but it's a little entertaining. So anyway, we're going to have a quick story time. So I do not have, well, I do have a finished object, but I don't have like what I expected to have after 2 weeks of not doing a show and tell. Thursday, the day before the Southern Comforts Fiber Market, so that's the 9th, I guess, the 9th or the 10th. So I got a text from our realtor. There was a couple in our house looking at the house in Charlotte. And she said, so the realtor just texted me and wants to know what the deal is with the water spots in the guest room. And I was like, there were none. At least on Monday when I was there were no water spots. And so Friday, I would have gone Thursday if this weren't like 7 o'clock at night already. And I didn't have any way of feeding the cats because Troy was at a business meeting. So there was nobody here to feed the cats Friday morning. But, so yeah, Friday morning, I left at like 3:30 in the morning, 4 a.m. And I went up there before I went to the market. And lo and behold, there are water spots on the ceiling in the guest room. So I spent from 7:30 in the morning until about 8:15 calling plumbers, getting calls in to see if we could get somebody to come open up the ceiling, see what was going on. Of the plumbers that called me back, I called like 7 or 8. The 4 that called me back, plus the one my realtor recommended, all said get HVAC out there because normally if you have a plumbing leak, it's going to be one spot, whereas this was like 6 spots in a straight line going across the ceiling. So I get HVAC on the phone finally on Friday night after I had already gotten back to Columbia. And they said, yeah, we'll be out tomorrow morning. So Saturday morning, I drive back to Charlotte. And just for the record, this is like from door to door, it's about an hour and 45 minutes from this apartment to the house. And they're like, yeah, we'll be there at 8 a.m. Okay. Or 10 a.m. So I leave at 8. I get up there. I meet the plumber. And he's not able to open up the ceiling to see what's going on. But he's like, the pump's pumping. The type of lining this is, like, you're not going to get a leak in this. We don't know what's going on. So I call one of the plumbers back that I had spoken to and said, hey, yeah, so HVAC says it's not theirs. I need a plumber. Monday, they come out. They're there at 8 a.m. So I leave Sunday night to drive back to Charlotte once again. So I've gone up on Friday, back. Saturday, I did up and back. And Sunday, I went back up again in the evening. So I get back up there, and Monday morning, the plumbers show up. They open up the ceiling. Nothing. There's not even that much water on the sheetrock that they pulled down, so we're not really sure what's going on. And they, once again, they looked at the HVAC. They made the condensate pump run and everything, and nothing. They can't figure out what's going on. So I call my HVAC company back. And just for the record, if you're in Charlotte or the greater Charlotte area in North Carolina and you're looking for a reliable AC and heating company, HVAC company, Dave Matthews Heating and Air are phenomenal. So I called them back and I talked to their receptionist. I'm like, look, is there any chance that there's something along the line that could have backflowed, or I've just got to pick somebody's brain on this, like, because we are at a standstill with the ceilings now open. Clearly there's been a leak. And when we got there Saturday, we had the original 6 spots, and then there were more coming down the other side of the room. So now we have a 90-degree angle of spots, and it's a perfect 90-degree angle of spots. And she goes, I have no idea. This is weird. This is weird. We no clue. We cannot, no clue. She says, but let me call the contractor we work with a lot to see, maybe he can talk to you and see if there's an idea that he can come up with. So their contractor comes out, the contractor that they work with a lot. And he literally like beautiful minds the situation. He comes downstairs and he's like, and keep in mind, there's this giant hole in the ceiling. We took out like 2 joists worth in a strip. So it's like 18 inches by 30 inches, 24 inches. No, that's more than 2 feet. So that's between 24 and 30 inches. So 2 joists worth of 18-inch hole. And he runs up to the garage, he looks around, goes ahead and checks everything in the kitchen, because this room is right under the kitchen. There's, no moisture. And of course, like I've already checked this. I've wheeled out the refrigerator like 6 times at this point. There's nothing under the sink, nothing under the laundry room. And he's doing all this. And then he goes, let's go back downstairs. So we go into the utility closet down there, and he's looking at the HVAC lines and the plumbing lines from the hot water heater that we had replaced a couple years ago. And then we go out back, and he's still... And all of a sudden he goes, I've got it. Thank you. I needed an answer first and foremost. So we had a horrible storm Thursday morning, and it came from the northeast, which is not a common direction we get storms from. We normally get storms from the southwest, not from the northeast. The vent for the guest room bathroom did not have a housing on it, did not have anything around it, didn't have any cover. It was just kind of a hole in the side of the house that kind of had a vague shelter over it. But it was an inset in the siding, all this. So he's like, I've got it. This is what happened. That storm came from the northeast. This is the northeast corner of the house. The wind, because this was like, this thing dropped tornadoes and everything else. This was a really bad storm. It dropped like 8 inches, between 8 and 10 inches of rain in 45 minutes. This was a big storm. So he, excuse me, he's like, so what happened probably is the storm blew the water in through that vent casing. It went down the joist and just kind of at random puddled water along the joist. And then it started to puddle at the corner. And when it hit the center of the house, it kind of slowly moved its way down, because the last one that showed up over the closet door in there was the biggest water spot. It was about this big. All the other ones were about this big at the biggest. And then we had some that were just this big. They also all ran exactly down and collected at the same points as the nail heads across the ceiling. So that was like a whole nother like frustrating bit there. So anyway, simple repair, except for the fact now I've got a hole in my ceiling. So I was like, how much is this going to run us? I know we have homeowners insurance, but we're in the process of buying a house. So like, I don't really want to have to make a claim right as I'm about to make a claim, like set up a new policy and everything for the new house. It's like literally, we're 2 weeks out from closing. How much is this going to cost? Because I'm also, as part of getting a mortgage, you're not supposed to put a whole bunch of stuff like on your credit cards and stuff and change your financial landscape that much. So anyway, reasonable price, but he can't get out for a week. So I have a hole in the ceiling, can't show the house for a week. We did have like 2 showings where they said they could look past, a repair being done. This wasn't structural damage. This didn't cause any structural damage. And, it's actually kind of good if you know what you're looking at, and you can look up in the ceiling and realize like how much insulation and padding and everything the hot water lines have, the HVAC lines have and stuff. But at the same time, there's a hole in the ceiling. So your house is not going to show very nicely. So anyway, this past Monday, Sunday night, I went up to meet him because he was going to be there between 8 and 9. And he spent all day getting the work done. He didn't get done till probably around 4:30 is when he was starting to pack up. So I spent Monday night there in Charlotte. I was absolutely exhausted. I'm slowly taking down the yarn wall. I do have moving bags that I'm using to take down the yarn wall. Now I've got those full. I have some other stuff there at the house that I'm going to use they'll be sweater boxes because our closets are going to have to be differently organized, and I'm going to need those. So I got those, went ahead and had them sent to the house, and I will use those there to finish packing the rest of the yarn on the big yarn wheel. I'm still not sure what I'm going to do with cakes. I have like 6 boxes of yarn now, plus 10 bags of yarn. It's a mess. Anyway, so we got that fixed. But because I spent all this time driving, because that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up and back trips, which is 3 hours. Let's call it 4 hours. That's like 20 something hours in the car. I didn't get a whole lot done. And of course, like I was just wiped out every day when I got back to Columbia after spending 3.5 hours in the car, depending on the traffic. Now I will say Friday and Saturday, I was really surprised at how good traffic was, especially Friday, because I was coming back at like 6 o'clock and Charlotte traffic, I was taking 485. I did take the eastern side of 485 just because the western side's a nightmare at the best of times. So I came down through like Mint Hill, Matthews, and took that route because here's the city of Charlotte and where 485 runs. When you go down the east side of the city, I had to meet 77 all the way down here where I was right here. And this loop technically would be quicker because I could get on 77 quicker and shoot straight down, but I would have to drive through downtown Charlotte. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. So I've learned over the last 4 years of being back in Charlotte, just take the east side of 485 and come down. You'll hit a little traffic around Matthews, but it's so much faster. So much easier to get through. But I mean, the longest trip ended up, coming home was about 2 hours and 15 minutes. And that was with a pee break. So anyway, 10 minutes just to tell you that I would have thought I would have more done or accomplished or available to share. But unfortunately, while I've had my hands in a lot of projects, I don't have that much in the FO department. So that house is still on the market. We close on Monday on the new house, get the keys on Wednesday. Our move will be the following week, so Labor Day week. This will probably be the story for the next couple weeks. I will do an empty house walkthrough and share with you guys our new home before we start getting our stuff in there. That will probably be like the last time you see like the whole house. But I will do a house walkthrough. I am hoping to share with you guys the process of trying to set up like the kitchen and stuff for ease and usage, but I'm not sure how that's going to work. Because generally, as the movers move things in, I prefer to go ahead and start unpacking the kitchen. If you are in the process of moving, there is one big piece of advice that I will give you guys. Well, two. One, anything you're packing yourself or able to mark, get multicolor, either duct tape or masking tape, and mark each color for the room it goes in. And when you get to the new house, put that color tape on the door so the rooms are color coordinated for what you want going into that room. One piece of advice there. I do in a notebook, I actually have like the craft room is hot pink, the living room is yellow, the kitchen is blue, the study is orange, like color coordinate your rooms. Make sure all your boxes are clearly labeled on all 4 sides as to what room they go in. Use the top flap to micro list what is in there. But make sure that the room is clearly marked on all 4 sides, and just put the duct tape on the 2 adjacent corners. So no matter what direction the box is turned, you can see what room it goes in and the color of duct tape. The next piece of advice I'm going to give you guys, and this is something I've been using for like our last 3-4 moves now. Get a bag together that has 1 full set of sheets for each room. For us, it's just 1 room, but 1 full set of sheets for each bed, 1 set of towel for each person that are going to be taking a shower in your house in the first 48 hours. Put 4 rolls of toilet paper in there, 2 rolls of paper towels, because you never know what messes you're going to have to clean up, or especially if you have movers or people helping you move, how many bathrooms you're going to be occupying. So put 4 rolls of toilet paper in there, 2 rolls of paper towels, And then anything you need personally, like a change of clothes, extra undies, I'm a big slippers in the house person. I love my Minnetonka moccasins, but like you want like your house shoes, one pair of like running out the door quickly, go grab the mail, run to the grocery store kind of thing. Any of your extra medications. Now for us, that's not going to be big for this move just because, you know, we are in temporary housing. So I will be able to relocate that before the movers get there. Between the 30th and I think our stuff's supposed to be started delivered on the 8th. So in that 8 days, I'll be able to relocate like things like that for ourselves. But that go bag is a lifesaver. Another thing that I'm not doing for this move, just because I've already got it here at the apartment, I put a crock pot in mine. And it's because the day you're having stuff delivered, you're probably going to have like whatever movers or your friends or whatever if you're giving your friends pizza and beer, great, you're probably going to eat that too. If you're getting sandwiches or barbecue for your movers that are moving you, great, you'll probably have that left over. But the next morning, you're going to want to have a piece of meat or a soup that you can throw in the crock pot. For me, frequently that's when I do corned beef and cabbage, or I do cabbage soup. I don't know why. I love cabbage soup. I've mentioned this before. Cabbage and kielbasa soup is one of my all-time favorite things. So I always put a crock pot in my go bag, or I have it set aside so that first morning I can throw something in the crock pot while I'm unpacking and dinner is taken care of. So I can have a healthy meal, home prepared meal, instead of having to eat out. While I love poke and sushi and burgers and stuff like that, I can't live off of that for very long and not feel gross and start feeling very sluggish. So I always recommend a crock pot. Or, I mean, if you're an Instapot person, I got one too. I like it for certain things. But a crock pot means that it's already cooked and taken care of. I don't have to think about it the rest of the day. Whereas the Instapot, I do have to stop and make the food versus just leaving it go all day. But boom, there you go. Maybe I should have made this a separate video and then do a show and tell later. Anyway, if you've bared with me for the last 17 minutes, apparently, according to my camera counter, I've got some stuff to share with you guys. So first off, in my Christy Hudson bag from Teetoddles, my little Nomi bag here, I am working on a fold over pot holder. Now I did make this one extra, extra large because I want a big trivet size pot holder. I have a lot of smaller ones, but I did want an extra large one. I did make a little hand towel using some I Love This cotton. This is, I think, green multi. No, it says lime ombre. And I have started, and I'm actually in the process of changing over the color again, a dishcloth using purple and pink. This is Premier Home Cotton. And the colors eggplant / aubergine and fuchsia. So I'll probably do a scrubby in the pink and maybe have enough of the purple to do an outline. I don't think so though. I think I've got just enough to do this. And then I have a pink, or not a pink, I have a blue and lime green set. These were in the like candy shop set that I got a couple years ago. So I just threw these in here. So I'll do the same thing with those, where I'll do a little dishcloth and go. I need to set this aside so I weigh it and put it in my binder. I am trying the same thing with like the squares and stuff I've been making. As I go, I'm trying to immediately add the colors in to my fold over pot holder here. If you want directions for the fold over pot holder, The best tutorial I've seen out there is Margaret Olander's tutorial. So go check out Sheepishly Sharing with Margaret Olander. And it's in her tutorials thing. I will probably forget to put links in here because I'm filming this at like 8:30 in the morning. And now I've got to go run errands right after this. Because once again, I haven't been here. Yesterday I spent the day cleaning and starting laundry. Today is changing sheets and doing some more laundry. Now I need to run errands. I need some food. Not that it looks like I'm going to waste away anytime soon, but I do need some food. Next up, so I'll film this separately. I'll do an acquisitions video for Saturday. Wasn't going to have Saturday content, so we'll do Saturday acquisitions because I do have some acquisitions I want to share with you guys. Up next, I did take the new Yarnable in the color Grow with the Flow plush sock. And I started another Blackberry Crescent shawl with it. I don't know why this just said it needed to be the shawl, but it did. And I was very excited when I got the Yarnable and was absolutely in love with the color. So once again, we're doing another Blackberry Crescent shawl. So that's where we are on this. I've got about 50 grams left here. So I'm about halfway done. I keep taking this with me thinking I'm going to get more done every time I go to Charlotte, and it just doesn't happen. But I have worked on it diligently over the last 2 weeks. So I have not touched this since last week, but I also started the Escherite cowl using the vertical stripe method. There's you can do horizontal or vertical stripes on it. And this is using this month's Arkansas Yarn Company yarn. This is the front of it. So it's really hard to see what's going on here. It calls for 14 repeats, and I have completed 5 repeats of the lace pattern. So I still have quite a ways to go, but I am loving how this yarn is working out. Once again, with the way the lighting is here, you can't quite see the sparkle in the finished object on camera, at least from what I can see. But the colors are phenomenal. I don't know how this caked up more beautifully than it was in the hank, but it did. It's absolutely gorgeous. I will try to remember to leave the Escherite cowl and the Blackberry Crescent shawl in the description box down below, so you guys can go check those out for yourselves. So I am still trying to get the Arkansas Yarn Company project done for the month of September. That way we can do the review and have a completed review series on it, since this move was so unexpected. But still working on that. So one of the errands I need to run is I need to go to the grocery store, the pet store, the drugstore, and Michael's, because I want to get this last granny square blanket done, and I am short 1 square that is 2-tone. I don't know how I miscounted this. I'm not sure how that happened, but it did. And unfortunately, when I was laying this out yesterday to see where to put it in, I really need this 1 square to be my next square in to space out the colors a little bit better. But I did get 3 rows of my final granny square blanket done. Well, it's not going to be my final blanket, because I'm going to continue making squares, corner to corner and granny squares, as I continue to work through my worsted weight stash. But the pet store and Michael's are together in the shopping center. They're literally side by side. My goal is to be out there at 10 a.m. so I can get that done when everything opens. But I am short 1 square. I might actually do it as a variegated and a solid, because I did have 1 variegated square in there. So maybe try to not make that look like an accident. But yeah, so that is everything. Well, and I did do, since y'all saw this last, I did get another, it's so hard to see let's see if this helps a little bit. That does help. So y'all, I was in the moss stitch on this Franken scarf project. Last time I shared it, I did a rib, and now I'm doing a different basket weave pattern. So once again, we have some progress being made on this. This is a really nice, easy, just mindless, I'm too tired to think project, especially while I was doing the ribbing rows. So I did get a couple stitches done on this. So I will also try to remember to leave the Franken scarf down in the description box down below. If I forget, the links for these patterns are all over my channel for the last couple of show and tell, so please go check those out. I shared the Escherite shawl in Arkansas Company month 2 unboxing. I shared the blackberry scarf in the month 3 unboxing, as well as like my last 3 show and tells. And the Franken scarf should be in like show and tell 195, I believe. And then if you're curious about how I'm joining the squares for the granny square project, this is just using worsted weight scraps, size I crochet hook. The way I showed in the tutorial of how I do my granny squares is what I'm doing for the squares. And you can find that here on my channel. But the way I'm joining it is very, very similar to the hooked on Robin continuous granny join. So if for some reason I forget to link these or just run out of time, please definitely go check those out. Look in the 195, 194 show and tells for some of these. But once again, all these can easily be found if you put them into Google: Escherite cowl pattern, Franken scarf pattern, or the blackberry crescent shawl pattern. They'll pop up. All of these are on Ravelry or on YouTube. So anyway, I am going to go ahead and log out of this video because I already talked like way too much. On Saturday, I guess we're going to do a sharing of the acquisitions and what I've got sitting here beside me. So anyway, I love you guys, and I will see you real soon. Please take care of yourselves, and hopefully we'll have some more interesting things to talk about next week. Bye, guys.